Welcome back to the Community Collective
yes.
podcast. I am Johnny B. Good, joined by my man,
Travis Howell.
Oh man, we have a special guest today.
We do.
And I'm excited because we've crossed paths with Mr. Joe Jared for a number of years here, both with your kids playing in at the St. John's basketball league.
Yes.
And I did a cumulative total last night as I'm laying in bed, getting ready, mentally preparing for today's podcast. And I'm like, I think we have like double-digit number of years between my four children that we've been at St. John's, you know, and it's all quick because all my kids are very close in age. Right. But I'm like, man, oh man, what an absolute amazing experience for these kids to be able to go out and enjoy these different leagues.
Well, talk about a community event that brings people from all walks of life together.
100%.
I think for our kids, it was learning the basics of being on a team, sportsmanship, but then also learning the game as well, which was great for them. And I can tell that's already built up from how both of my kids are now, especially. So I'll share just an example. So unfortunately, yesterday, my son slipped on the ice, fell down, and he's in a sling.
Okay.
So no broken bone, but in a sling.
Good.
So he has a basketball game Saturday, and he right now he probably won't play. But he goes, Dad, can I go and at least support my team if I'm not playing? I'm like, this is great. This is coming from a basic, understanding of being part of a team, and I think that came from St. John's.
Absolutely,
and the community atmosphere it created.
For sure. So why don't we let our guest, Joe, why don't you give us a quick introduction, give us the old, nickel summary of what it is that you do, and then we'll kind of hop into some questions here, have a conversation.
Yeah, well, good morning.
Good morning.
So I'm Joe Jared, and the guest coordinator at St. John's Church here in Davison. So St. John's campus in Davison is actually one of the busiest buildings in the city of Davison, so we're proud to say that. But
without a doubt.
Well, yes, all the time.
And we are the largest Catholic community in Genesee County.
Wow.
So we're proud of that.
Yeah. It has to be.
Wow, that's great.
So there's a lot going on in that building every day.
Well, I know my parents go, and my dad runs, my mom walks with my mother-in-law on the track, but then I've gone up there and worked out as well.
Jackie, great lady.
Oh, yeah. She loves it. Gets out there with her two new knees.
Yep.
It's a great place to I think to exercise and stay healthier, especially in the wintertime, which we're from the South originally, as we've shared.
Yeah.
So wintertime is not her thing.
No.
Wintertime's not my thing, and I'm not from the South.
Most people.
Exactly. But Joe, I will say this. I mean, you're at St. John, but you do so many other things too.
Right.
Yeah. So I think we're going to touch base on a lot of what you're involved in the community throughout this podcast.
Yeah.
So
it's
perfect.
It's going to be a lot of fun. So we'll just hop right into the questions, and there's an ebb and flow to the conversation.
Oh, yes.
We want to learn all about you, all about St. John's, and all the good things you do over there. So can you share how the Wellness Center, has really impacted the community, and what unique programs, or even talking about the different opportunities for facility rentals and things like that are available to the community at large?
Right. So St. John's, like I said, we are also responsible for not only St. John's here in Davison, but Blessed Sacrament in Burton.
Okay.
So we also manage that facility as well. So there are buildings over there that are accessible to the public. Not only do we offer church over there daily and on the weekends, but so there's things going on over there as well. But here in Davison, the Family Center, so built in 2000.
Okay.
So it just turned 25 years old.
That's amazing.
Yeah, and little by little each year it just gets bigger and bigger and more. But we have McLaren Wellness in the building for therapy, and we also have a preschool. Yep. So Julianne Pumphrey does a great job running our preschool program.
Okay,
and that's busy every day, 4 days a week.
When my daughter went. The preschool there. It was underneath Lori Pepin at the time.
Oh, yeah.
Years ago.
Yeah.
So
Lori moved on to the Eagle's Nest here in Davison.
Yes.
But since retired. But anyways, so we have the preschool. We also have activity rooms that are available for rent. Unfortunately, we do a lot of funeral services and things like that. But we also have it available for open houses, wedding ceremonies, wedding receptions, just any kind of party. That's also available. We have our gymnasium that you guys referred to. That's where we have our basketball every Saturday. That has been going on for 17 years of the 25.
Wow, that's
17
awesome.
years.
17 years ago, I went to Father Andrew, who is my greatest mentor and outstanding individual in the community here. It seems like everyone knows Father Andrew, but he I said, we need to get people in the gym. We built this beautiful facility. How do we get people in the community, in the building, in the gym? So we also have not just our gym to offer programs, but we have RCIA, religious education for families who want to join and get more involved in the Catholic community.
Okay.
We have prep. Prep is a fancy name for religious education for our kids.
Okay.
We have that going on as well. We have the outreach east across the street in
Yep.
our old
Yes.
school that I went till the 4th grade, and they closed it down. But that is also occupied in another building. We have our parish hall that can occupy up to 450 people. Today we have a funeral there today for Papa Goyette, Don Goyette, who started Goyette Mechanical and
Yes,
Heating.
wow.
300 some people will be there today for that. But within our building, there's so many things going on a daily basis.
Mm-hmm.
There's so many ministries that go on that when I've been there 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
I actually started there in COVID.
Oh, wow.
Father Andrew came to me. I had just retired. And he said, "Hey, Joe, we need somebody to manage the wellness center." I said, "Okay, I'm your guy."
Yep.
So that was during the downtime of COVID. So when we opened up the family center, that's when I started. And I had a great mentor too. Lori Miles was our business manager across the street. She helped me get engaged and get started in all of that. And every day I just learn new things every day about what
Sure.
goes on in the Catholic community of St. John's. There's many ministries. One, for instance, we have a group of ladies that come in and they build quilts. They make
Oh,
quilts.
wow. Okay.
They're there right now as we speak. There's probably 20 ladies in that room who make quilts. What do they do with the quilts? They give them to families in need. They are for sale during Christmas. They're for sale at our front desk. Just one ministry. There's another ministry of a group of ladies, fantastic ladies that come in, and they once a month, and they job is to make pillowcases
Oh,
for kids in hospitals.
Oh, wow.
really?
So
Wow.
last year they made 16,000 pillowcases. They distribute them
Holy cow.
That is
to
a
the
huge number.
to the
It
community.
is.
They go down south to different hospitals and things like that. So there's just so much going on in that building outside of our basketball. And people always, they see me, and I still have kids today go, "Oh, Mr. Basketball, Joe Jared, Mr. St. John,"
Oh,
and I just
yes.
laugh because now, like you guys had spoke earlier, they're older,
Sure.
and they look back at it and they have memories of being involved in
course.
that.
Oh, they do.
Of
But
course.
so we've 17 years. Father Andrew said, "Joe, I think that's a great idea. When you going to start it?"
Yep.
So
Great. Now
Great.
run with it.
No, go with this. Yeah.
so but it's not a Joe Jared thing, right?
Sure.
It was my brainchild, but really it takes numerous people
Yeah.
every
Oh,
week to keep it a success. To when people walk in our building, they're our guests. We try to minimize all the hiccups, right? So
Sure.
they can come in, have a great experience. It takes the men's club, St. John's Men's Club, which is a
Okay.
great organization. They have different profits and things like that throughout the week
okay.
and the month and the year that they generate income to give to local charities that need it. We also have the Knights of Columbus,
Okay. Yep.
Council 4090. They are also very involved in the basketball program. So we have those gentlemen come in on Friday nights and they set everything up.
Yep.
Wow.
So when our kids and grandparents and all come in
Everybody.
on Saturday,
Everybody gets there.
everything's set up and ready to roll. So
Yeah.
it takes a village to make
Well,
that happen.
And if I remember
Yeah.
correctly, too, you will have kind of middle school, high school age basketball players refereeing and keeping score and everything like that.
Yeah.
So you're including all parts of our community and
Right.
helping
Right.
with this organization of a community basketball league.
Yeah.
Well, and I loved last week because you guys are like, we're calling the games a little tighter this weekend.
Right.
We're
Right.
going to work on traveling and double dribbling and stuff like
Right.
that. And that's great because
Yes.
it's about the kids going out and having fun, win, lose, what have you. But at the end of the day, we want to develop skills. It's
Sure.
a developmental league.
Sure.
We want to give you your first exposure to what is actually going on the
Right.
basketball
So
court.
we've learned if kids are introduce kids to us as parents, we introduce them to as many things possible.
Yes.
If they fall in love with something, they're going to excel at it, right?
Yeah.
So we introduced the game of basketball to them at a very early age. Kindergarten, first grade on one end, second, third graders on the other.
Yep.
My son was involved in the DSER when they started the fourth, fifth, and sixth
Oh, the
Okay.
jet
basketball
league.
program. So him and I worked together with that, and then he has since moved on to another occupation in his career. But
Sure.
the DSER has a great program. So we
Both of my
just
boys are in
work.
there.
Yep, great. Yep, and I mean, we accentuate that as they go right into the fourth, fifth, and sixth grade.
Sure.
So
Right.
as they go on into high school, middle school, a lot of these kids, we're proud to say, went through our
They went through the
program.
program. You create the basis for them to
Yeah.
succeed as they're
So we
getting up in that
understand
road.
some
Yeah.
kids, they stay with it and they love it, and other kids find other interests. But you had mentioned the community service hours. So
Yes.
we give the opportunity for the Davison kids, boys and girls, from both the varsity programs and JV and freshmen as well, to any Saturday that anybody wants to come up to the community center and give of their time.
Yep.
Okay.
It's a requirement for our kids to graduate that they have so many community service hours.
Yep.
Right.
So that gives them a great avenue to get involved. We just took pictures last week. Our photo factory here in Davison is generous with that.
Yep.
And so I said, we have to have a picture of all these kids that are
Yeah.
volunteering
Oh,
that are from
yes.
our Davison program.
Yep.
So Coach Dubzimski, Matt Dubzimski, is one of the
Oh, yes.
greatest coaches I've ever
Great guy
ever
too.
met.
Yes.
Great individual. The kids love him. He's got that talent where he can connect with those kids,
He does.
Right.
which a lot of kids at that age need that. So that is their family, that basketball program that they're in. So he gives of his time every Saturday. He brings his young son Cooper, and they help out all day Saturday.
Yep.
And then I said, we have to have a picture of all you kids
Yeah.
that went through this program. I said, raise your hand as they were getting their pictures taken of who was in this program when
Oh,
they
wow.
were young.
Right.
And almost every one of them raised their hand.
That's amazing.
Which is
So
fantastic.
that's the success to it, right?
Yep.
It's that those kids now they want to come back and give of their time and help the youth that are coming up through the
Yeah.
program.
Well, and I will say too, it's nice to see. I went to an 8th grade basketball game the other night, but I noticed there's some older kids at the game just watching. So I started talking to my daughter, then talked to a couple of the other coaches, and it was I think the JV team had come
Right.
to the 8th grade game
Right.
just to watch them and support them.
Yeah.
So I think Davison area is creating a culture of just support from all ages.
Yeah.
Which is great to see. And I think St. John has played a big part in that. And by bringing back the kids that started in the program to help volunteer with setup and refereeing and everything
yeah.
like that, I think that just shows and keeps carrying on to
Yeah.
later in life too.
Well, and my kids we've done the junior MBA, we've done the upwards, but at this specific age group from kindergarten to third grade, we've just gravitated and stuck with St. John's because the program, it's ran efficiently, it's ran well, it's timely, they learn, they have fun, and it's great to have something right here in our backyard, because for so many sports, you're driving 20, 30, 45 minutes,
Oh,
an
my
hour
goodness, you are.
sometimes to go different places. And to really have something where I just know Saturday morning, I'm going to go watch my girls play. And we have an absolute blast
We
with
do.
it.
Yeah.
That's
That's
so
good.
much fun.
That's good to hear. The kids, our referees and things, they enjoy. So as you mentioned, when we first started, it was ugly the first week, right? It always
course.
is. The
Oh, it
kids have
is.
to learn,
Yes.
what are we doing here? How's
Right.
it work? But as the weeks progress, we have 8 total weeks.
Yep.
So as they progress, I tell our youth players, I say, okay, this week we're going to work on blow the whistle. Please stop play. I don't care about the time.
Right.
Just stop the play. Explain to him what he did wrong.
Yep.
Things like that. And we switch it up every 3 minutes. So all the
Right.
kids on the team are getting exposed to
Which is
help.
fantastic.
Which is great. Yes.
Yeah. So there's a lot of work to be done.
Oh, I'm
With
sure.
second and third graders and double dribble and travel and all of
all
that.
the travels.
So there's
all the
lots of
travels.
opportunities
Yes.
there for kids. And then we just hope that our parents and the kids that have the support to come for the kids understand that, it's not all about the W's. It's
Right.
not about the scores. I like to keep score so the kids have a metric to know where they fall and where they need to
It
work
is.
on and things like that. But the bottom line, and I've said this for 17 years, it's really not a lot about the basketball as much as it seems. It's more that Father Andrew's mission was to get that gym full
Yeah.
of families.
Yes.
So we have grandma and grandpas, aunts and uncles, sisters, siblings. They all come to watch their brother or sister, whatever.
Oh, my family can roll in deep with 15
Oh yeah.
and not even break a sweat.
No.
So, I mean, that's
Yeah.
easy as can be.
Yeah.
Well, and you guys make it fun too. I think was it the last game of the season? You have a big banner for the players, or
Right.
like the smoke machines
Right.
going for
Yep.
introduction. So
Good point. Yeah.
you make a lot of you have a lot of fun with it too.
Yeah.
And I think that's what it is, and those kids remember that.
So
a
the
long time.
confidence, right?
Yes.
Let's build confidence in our youth. So we proudly say their name before every game.
Mhm.
They run out on the floor. They're wearing the same jersey as their teammate.
Yep.
They get to
Yep.
have a snack or whatever afterwards. So the learning there is that these kids, as you had mentioned earlier,
Yeah.
Travis, that they're part of a team. They belong to something that's important. And I've always sent the message from our first day at camp. I use the terminology of keep your chin up, right? And in basketball, you keep your chin up so you can see the floor and things like that. But on the bigger picture in life, if we don't keep our chin up, right, every day, right? So I still see kids that are in the high school and kids that have gone through college that always will come back to me and say, "Hey, how you doing, Mr. Jared? Hey, keep your chin up." They remember that, just
Yeah.
that little
That
little partake. So, the goal is to get them in the gym,
Mhm.
get the families talking to one another, get them meeting each other. It's that community.
Yeah,
It's that
absolutely.
it's just people need people,
Yep.
right? So that to me is the big success story behind it all. Basketball is just a tool that we use, and now you know our secret. But basketball
Right.
is just a tool we use to get families together in the community.
which is perfect.
No, it's fantastic. Well,
is.
and the beauty of it is we just already crushed question number 2.
Yeah, we
Travis
did.
doesn't even need to ask
I
it.
don't have to ask a question now,
Now we're
right?
perfect. But you know what? And that's what brought us all together.
It is.
Was just a simple fact, watching Charlie play.
Yes.
We watched him play a number of times. The boys played against him.
Yes, they
Aiden
did.
or Jace played against him because Jace is 1 year older.
Right.
So seeing that, and then again, the camaraderie of just, the teams getting together.
Right.
There's new teams every year. And it's like, man, this is
It
just
is.
such a blast.
Mhm.
And there's so much fun to be had out up there on the court. But I mean, there's a lot of life lessons to be learned in sports in general.
Right.
Oh,
Winning,
tremendous.
losing, winning with grace.
Right. Right.
Being humble, things of that
And-
nature. It's just such a great
Well,
program.
and I think of too, probably like a lot of families. I don't know if you guys, you have 4 kids.
Yes.
We keep all their jerseys
Yeah, of course.
from every sport they've been part of. So I can only imagine when open houses come up, the
Yeah.
number of St. John
Yeah.
basketball
Yeah.
shirts that are hanging up
Oh,
at
yeah.
these open houses.
Yeah.
It probably shows you how big of an outreach that the program's had.
Well, and
And-
I like this year with the reversible, with the green and the white.
Oh yes.
I think that's fantastic. But we have, we've been on the orange team, we've been on the red team,
Yes.
the girls were on the purple team, we've got, a gray one. And so we do have all these shirts. And so when the boys grow out of them, the girls were wearing them, but now the girls are playing, so they get their own
Get their own shirts.
and it's fantastic. It's
It
such
does.
a fun league,
Yeah.
without a doubt.
It is.
All
Yeah.
right. I guess we'll move on to another one. Not everybody is super integrated into basketball. So we
I
have
know.
lots of other stuff.
We
to
just
talk
love
about.
sports, is what it is.
That's
Yes.
absolutely true. I love all my sports ball. So looking at from a facility management standpoint, because you talked about Blessed Sacrament and everything else, overseeing a full wellness center and gymnasium is obviously a significant responsibility for you, your team, whomever else. What are some of the challenges you face in managing these facilities? I know the answer to one of those. And, how do you ensure that you meet the needs of such a diverse group, whether it's basketball, pickleball, whether it's sports practices, whether it's cheerleading, whether it's any number of
Right.
things. How do you really try to orchestrate all of that?
So there's only so much time in a day,
Right.
Yep.
right? So we are open from 6 in the morning till 9 at night.
Wow.
And there is not a time that goes by that there's one of the rooms is not occupied.
Sure.
So it's a great question. So people that come to us, we get all kinds of different types of people, programs, disciplines that people are looking for a place to either have a meeting or share and things like that. So it is a challenge. We do have Powers cheerleaders there every day
Sure.
from 3 to 6 in the afternoon.
Wow.
Glad to have them.
Yes.
Yep.
They built that big, beautiful facility out there for their
Yep.
Powers Catholic High School, and they needed a space for their cheerleaders, which is a competitive cheer.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So we were able to allow space for them to do that.
Wow. Okay, great.
The pickleball, as we all know, is
Yep.
like the craze of
It
this
is
century.
it is the thing.
I haven't tried it, so I don't know. Have you?
Yeah, it's super fun.
Is it okay?
It's
Maybe I
almost
will have to.
addicting. It is addicting.
It absolutely is.
Yeah, and so it's the first time in my life that I can say that I got my shorts beat off me by a 70-year-old lady playing
Right.
pickleball, right?
Yeah.
So it's good for all ages, all
Yep.
people.
Right.
And so we have 3 courts,
Okay.
and that's pretty much every day. We have an early bird special from 6 to 8 in the morning
Okay.
for the early bird people that have to hit the ground doing something.
Yep.
And then our preschool has the gym in the morning.
Yep.
So part of the contract for the kiddos there is that they have that ability to utilize the gym. So on
Yep.
cold days, rainy days, whatever,
Mhm.
they're in there till noon. And then in the afternoon, we have, again, pickleball from 1 to
Yep.
3,
Nice.
cheerleaders from 3 to 6, and then the DESER program, as I mentioned earlier.
Yeah.
Right now, they're renting our gym 3 nights a week for 2 hours for their Jet League.
Really?
So
Okay.
we have that in the
Wow.
gym. So that is just the gymnasium.
Yeah. Just the gymnasium.
Just
We
the gym,
have
yeah.
classrooms available that we use for our religious education.
Yep.
In the family center, we have what we call a small activity room,
Yep.
but basically that's a room that can be divided into 2 different rooms. But
Okay.
as I mentioned, funeral lunches,
Mhm.
we have all these ministries that come in and use the room.
Mhm.
So the challenge is trying to keep up with that schedule of all these different activities in all the different rooms and what is needed before they have their meeting and what do we have to do to get ready for the next meeting,
Yep.
right? So it's
Yep.
it's a nonstop daily activity that
It just churns.
just
Just
turns
churns.
It just turns.
constantly turns.
Yeah.
And I'm really proud to say that we have the best group of volunteers
Yeah.
in our building. And
Absolutely. They're
Yes.
always happy.
They really
and
are.
smiling, very welcoming, which is great.
And they
to
always
see.
want to have a conversation with you
Yep.
when you go in.
Yep.
Yeah.
Exactly,
Absolutely.
too. So
Well,
I
they
like
love
that.
it, right? So
They
people
do.
need people again there. And so a lot of our volunteers at the front desk are people who have time on their hands now who want to give back to the community,
Sure.
give to St. John's and do some volunteering work. So usually at the front desk, we have a happy smiling face when you
Yep.
come in to
Yes.
see us and direct you in the right
I feel
direction.
like the best part is like when I had a chance to go work out there when it's your birthday and you swipe your card,
Yeah.
it does like the birthday noise like that.
Right.
But then they're all like, "Happy birthday!" Yeah,
Right.
they get excited for you too. Or like, I think my mom has talked about when I've gone in, it's been like a milestone, like your 100th visit. It does something as well, and like
Sure.
the individuals volunteering, I start talking about, "Oh, you've been here 100 times. What do you do?" And
Right.
they want to engage and make you feel welcome, which I think is
hmm
like it's important, especially since they're the face, the first
Mhm.
face you see when you come in to
Yeah.
the building.
So there's not also the physical health side of it. There's the mental health side too as
Mhm.
well, right? So we do have from the physical part of it our wellness center
Yep.
for the community parishioners, but also community, not just our Davison community, but anyone wishing to travel
Sure.
can come to our building, and it's we keep our costs down
Mhm.
based on the volunteers that we have,
Mhm.
and I've always said that I think we can offer a lot of things that some of our, I don't want to say competitors, because when I hear that, I think it's good that everybody has this and that they offer this, right?
Sure.
But one advantage that St. John's has over some of our other people is that we want people to feel like they're wanted there and they're a family. When they
Yeah.
come into our building,
Yeah.
we want them to be welcomed. One of the lessons I learned from Father Andrew is if you can remember people's name, and he is the best at it that
Yeah.
anybody I've ever met. He knows when my kids that were baptized, he knows their birthdays. I don't know
Wow.
anybody that can do that.
Wow.
I couldn't.
So
Yeah,
he is
wow.
by far the best at knowing people's names and making them feel like
Yeah.
they're part of our family, right? So
Absolutely.
I've really tried to take that to heart and do the same when people come in our building.
Yes.
I have a little cheat sheet, so when they check in and everything on the screen, it'll say their name.
Yeah.
So I get to say their name, but however, I've gotten to the point by utilizing that tool.
Right.
Now I just when I see
You
people, I
recognize
know their
them.
name.
Yep.
because
I like it.
I've read it
Yes.
5 times a week, whatever.
Yeah.
So I just think we have that ability to offer to the community.
Yeah.
That's our difference, right?
It is. I
We
think-
we want people that when they come in our building, they feel like they're welcome there.
Well, and that's something that in talking with like Dave Weir, we had
Yes.
Dave on from the Journey Center,
Mhm.
really understanding that being, whether you're a religious institution or otherwise, being a part of the community, integrating into the community, being available, accessible, and
Yes.
having these different options available is so very important.
Right.
Because the community can't feel like a community if it has nowhere to meet, if it has nowhere to go to get together and,
Yep.
and
Well said.
enjoy each other's time and energies and things like that. So I think it's great that you guys have a very integrated understanding of how to do that, because it's so important. And that's the fabric of what
It really
this
is.
entire community
And
is
probably
built
for the
upon.
number of people that are moving in and out of the building daily.
Yeah.
I mean, your hours are, it's a long day.
It's a long day.
Yes, it is. So the number of people that are doing it, and it changes, I'm sure, each week based on weather too. When it gets nice, they're not as much, but they're always going to be consistent with lifting weights
Daily. It changes daily.
Yes.
We have to be flexible.
Yeah. Yeah. Without a doubt. And it sounds like once you retired is when you really got busy.
Yeah.
That's true. It's a different kind of busy, right?
Sure.
So automotive can bring its challenges, but just being in what I've done, Father Andrew said in the beginning, he said, Joe, this is the beginning of a journey for you that the best will yet to come. He always says that. He doesn't believe in the good old days. He believes in the good days to come, right?
Yeah.
So,
Absolutely.
and so far, he hit it right on the head. I mean, every day I enjoy it that much more. And
Right.
don't get me wrong, there's challenges, right?
I'm sure.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, I feel like, I've done done the best I can.
Well, and if you love what you're
Yes.
doing, it doesn't always feel like work.
Yes.
Correct.
You're always going to have challenges, but if you really, truly enjoy what you're doing, then you can go to work and you're going to figure things out.
Right.
I remember the last year Charlie played basketball. Father Andy came into the games, and he does, I know often.
Sure. Yeah.
Does that, but he, I watched him, and he worked his way around the room to talk to everybody.
Oh, yeah.
Even whether he knew them or not, just to welcome them. And
Yep.
I think it's kind of, not to say it's a celebrity status, but it's one of those ones that people were excited because they recognize who he is or they hear his name. So but it shows that he cared about, for how busy as he is, to take that time to really show
people is
appreciation
his
to.
business.
It
right?
is,
So
yes.
he every minute of the day is filled with, his responsibility as people.
Yes.
So
Yep.
he does it well.
All right.
Now
Let's move on to the fun one.
the
Now
fun
I'm
one.
excited.
Yes, I'm
Oh,
really
these were
excited
all
with this.
fun. I didn't know.
They are.
These have all been great, but this is one of my passions. One of my lifelong passions is football.
Oh,
So
football.
as a football announcer,
yeah.
we can talk about your kids and things and all. I want to talk about all the stuff. But like, what is it like, announcing for these high school football games? How do you prepare? I mean, name pronunciations. Do you have to
Names
practice
alone.
those in the mirror? I mean, you tell me. What's it like doing it? Give us the whole full spectrum
Oh
of it.
boy.
And how did you get even started with it too?
Sure,
as well. Fill us all in. All the
So
details.
years ago, I was going to go into radio. I was going to be a sports broadcaster.
Okay.
Oh,
And
fantastic.
anyways, long story short, excuse me, I found out you could make more money at being an engineer. So
Well, that makes sense.
that
right?
makes
I get
sense,
it,
right?
Yeah.
But I always had that passion and that love. I was a DJ for years,
Yeah.
and I still do different things here and there by very selective, like class reunions, birthday parties, things like that. So still kind of kept that in the back of my hobby list,
Sure.
And through the years, I said, man, announcing a game like that'd be so fun to be a part of that, right? So fortunately, one of my sons today is a professional announcer, but he kind of been watching what I've been
Awesome.
doing all these
Oh,
years.
wow.
Yeah. And he's much more successful and much more better at it and better looking than I am. So I started doing freshman games, and the athletic director said, "Oh, we love it. Thank you. Giving back to the community." Well, as my kids got older and they got involved in the sports programs through Davison, now I wanted to be a part of that.
Sure.
And the story is, I was doing the chain gang at a football game.
Okay.
And I was involved in helping with the chains and the markers and things. And Josh Wahlberg, our athletic director here of years past, come running up to me right before a varsity football game and said, "Joe, I need you in the booth."
Oh.
And I looked at him like, this is a varsity game. I'm not ready for this.
Talk about like
Not at
surprise
all.
pressure right away.
This is the limelight.
Yeah,
I'm like,
it is.
wow. And I looked at the guys I've been doing the chain gang with, and they looked at me and they said, "You're fired."
Oh.
So I dropped it and ran across the field, went up to the booth.
Yeah.
He hands me the microphone, and there's like 10 people in this booth.
Yeah.
And now I'm used to doing freshman JV games where it's me and the scorekeeper, right?
Sure.
Yeah.
I walk in the booth and there's food, there's water, there's Gatorade, there's people.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, they get this
said,
for the chain gang.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
know. I said, Dob, this is great. And he said, this is your spotter. He'll do this. He'll do your offense. Here's your defensive spotter. Blah blah.
Yeah.
I said, I can't believe this. Right? He said, okay, it's all yours. Go. I had
Whoa.
no script. I had no script. I didn't know what I was doing.
Sure.
Honest to God, I did
Yeah.
not have a clue. Like,
Wow.
how do you prepare? How does anybody
How do you
prepare
do
for
that,
that?
right? Especially,
Sure.
yeah.
So I'm holding a microphone. He says, we start off with the national anthem. So, go ahead. Basically, that's how it went down.
Wow.
So
Did you have to sing the national anthem, or do they have a way to play
they
it?
had the band ready to go.
That's good. At least
There
they
you
had that
go.
for
The
you.
band.
Yeah.
There you
Okay.
go.
Good.
Yeah. So I just closed my eyes and said a little prayer and said, here we go.
Yeah.
And I haven't looked back. And that's
What year was that?
that was 14 years ago.
Wow.
So you can do the math.
Yeah.
I would say that I've done chain gang for like youth football,
Yeah.
and I feel like it's a lot
Same.
of pressure
Yeah.
just on that alone. So I can imagine doing it for high school.
Oh yeah.
So, but all of a sudden pop up there and start
Yeah.
announcing.
Now
Ooh.
there's, you said preparation.
Yep.
We've got it. We have got such a great team of people. So
Yeah.
Randy Scott runs the Davison DTV program. What a program. But he is in the booth. We have all kinds of supporting people in the booth to help with all kinds of activities.
Sure.
So we have the music and we have all of that to help support the games,
Yeah.
which I bring a computer, I do all the music. And then a few years ago, we said, man, we need some smoke machines to
Yeah.
really make
Yes.
it, get the community out there
Yep.
and involved. And so we initiated some smoke machines, and then that wasn't good enough. We need to go. So now we have the CO2 machines that
Yep.
blast off
Oh
the
yes.
jet
Oh, yeah.
blasters. And I have a really good friend that I went to school with and graduated with. He's still here local in the community, Mr. Tim Lacey. He used to work down here at Veet Tool and Gauge,
Okay.
Okay.
but he has, since they've sold that business. But he and I, from the class of 1979, Davison alumni,
There you go.
we
Yeah.
want to give back to the community. So Tim now does the scoreboard.
Oh.
And he's kind of the techno master behind all of the bells and whistles
Okay.
before the game. So we show up at the game a couple hours early.
Yep.
We start setting up all this for the kids. I understand that maybe someday these kids will look back at it and go, who were those two guys doing? I mean, who did all that?
Who
Right.
did
Right.
all that? Right. Yes.
So there's a lesson there for our
Yeah.
kids, and if they're paying attention, that someday they'll have the opportunity to give back to the.
Yep.
I had such great coaches and mentors at Davison. One of the biggest mentors that I ever had lived a few doors down from me,
Okay.
and I grew up with the kids, and it's the Slazak family in Davison.
Okay.
So Bob Slazak, he was our principal, and I played sports with him, baseball, different activities
Yep.
growing up. And I learned a lot from him about giving back, right? There wasn't a paycheck there for him doing that,
Sure.
but yet his love for the game, his love to work with kids. So
Mhm.
as I got older, I just kind of took that to heart. And now that I have the opportunity to give back
Right.
and the capability to give back, like I said, it's not about making a dime. It's about just
Yeah.
giving back to the community, making a great environment for the people that come into the stadium to watch their kids play,
Right.
or everyone there that is there on a Friday night, visitors, guests alone. Dave Beamer is now the athletic director, and I know that Dave appreciates
Oh,
the
I'm
the
sure.
give back from Tim and
Oh,
I and
absolutely.
everybody in that
Yes.
booth. It's all volunteering efforts.
I would say the only good thing probably about that booth is when the weather's rainy or cold.
Yeah.
You're protected from that a little bit. So I will say I'm a little jealous when I'm
Yeah.
bundled up with a blanket and all my
We've
winter
been
attire.
we've been to a few games that have been
Oh,
either
yes.
chilly or rainy or both.
or both,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Yes. So, but I think you hit it right there away. It's trying to make those memories. You mean
Right.
either St. John basketball or high school football.
Mm-hmm.
You're sitting there creating an atmosphere for especially those families whose kids are on the field,
Right.
that they'll remember that because when they get to hear their kid's name announced
Yeah.
or if
Correct.
they're making a play, it's like that, and that'll stick with them.
Oh,
You know?
yeah.
And because chances are, majority of those kids will, as soon as high school's done, they're done playing like sports, other than
Mhm.
like adult leagues or stuff like that. So that time period that you have is a chance for you to just get like that little bit of recognition.
Yeah, I
you
mean,
know,
the recognition. I mean, just doing
with
this
them,
today,
yes.
I appreciate the
Sure.
opportunity, but that's not why we're in it. We're
Oh
in
no,
it.
but
We're in
recognition
it
for the
to
players, yes,
absolutely.
yes.
We're in it for the people of our community, and we just hope that someday someone's paying attention that they can step up and
Yeah,
Oh
absolutely.
yes,
Absolutely. Well, and I think that just goes back to the fiber of the community, and understanding the ability to be able to give without the expectation of receiving anything back in return.
Well
Right.
said. Yeah.
Yes.
That's so very important. And that's what makes a great community in and of itself.
Did your daughters come up to the St. John Youth Night at the high school for the basketball program?
I don't know. It's already happened this season.
We already did it. Yeah.
Yeah, we didn't make it to this one, but we did for last
Yeah.
year.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
And because of all of our St. John shirts, everybody was all decked out.
Oh,
It was
yes.
perfect.
So
Well, 'cause-
Dave Beamer, the athletic director, is very, very, very supportive about
Absolutely.
youth sports in
Good.
our community,
Mhm.
right? So he not only St. John's, but he welcomes the Deeser kids also have
Mhm.
a family night for them as well.
Yep.
But that's another big
It's
that's
fantastic.
Yeah, it
going on
is.
right now.
Yep. It's fantastic. Well, and I mean, going to watch any of these sports or any of these after school athletic activities, they're just so engaging. They're so fun. And with having kids that are in their formative years as they're
Yes.
getting ready to enter, middle
Right.
school and high
Right.
school, I'm sure Charlie feels the same way Jace does. He's like, oh, I can't wait till I'm out on the football field.
Oh, yes.
Oh,
I
yeah.
can't wait for them to announce my name and all that. And I'm like, got to work hard.
Gotta do
You got to
it.
commit to it.
Yeah.
Oh,
You gotta
yeah.
get out there. You got to do the work. But he's like, I'm going to do it, Dad. And I'm like,
Well,
that's fantastic.
And the show too, like so Charlie's last fourth grade tackle game
Mhm.
was playing in their Davison team, and his coach Adam Amon worked out for them to play on the high school field, and he got a couple of the high school players to referee it and do announcing, and so like that stuck out to him already,
Oh, yeah.
and now he's already talking about like he goes, Dad, I can't wait to varsity.
Yep.
When I can like have that every week. I'm like, you got to work hard for it and get
Yeah.
there, but like it showed like
Oh,
that
yeah.
excitement being built at a young age
Mhm.
just to run out through that tunnel. Even though sometimes I think it'd be cool to have like a little like trail cam in that tunnel to
Yeah.
watch the players get hyped up in there
Yeah.
and have DTV.
Oh, what a great idea.
I think that'd be fun. Just DTV, hook it up and they could show it.
Yep.
Like a kind of a hype video.
it's-
Oh, yes.
It is absolutely an event
It
to
is.
go
yeah.
to go and watch a game.
Absolutely.
There's so many people. The community's just, it shows up in droves.
Yeah.
Shows up in droves. I mean, we need to get more seating because I always end up sitting on the visitor side.
Or we end up standing at some point. Yeah,
we do stand along the fence
Yes.
quite a bit, but I'm not a tall guy, so it's like I gotta get up on my tiptoes and see what I can
You're
see.
not tall. Have you met me?
Well, I mean,
Yeah.
I have met you.
Yes.
So it's all relative. I'm taller than
Yes,
you.
you are. So, but it is one thing. It gets packed, and I think we're seeing that more and more with other sports too.
Yeah.
which is great to see.
So, given your how many years you said 14 years
Mhm.
you've been doing the football announcing, give me your top memory from those 14 years. One that just sticks out to you.
Oh, wow. So I do basketball. We had a basketball game last night.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
So,
great.
So
That's
I do the varsity actually, I do when I can. I like to do the girls and
Yeah.
the boys. We do the last home game. We have triple headers, freshman, JV, varsity. We do the last home game. I do all three of them
Yeah.
to get the kids fired up and ready to come back for tryout for basketball next year.
Yep.
But I have a lot of great memories.
Yeah.
I could go on and on and on about
Sure.
different stories.
Yep.
But probably the one that when someone asked me that,
Yep.
the one that comes to mind, we were doing it was St. Mary's versus Bay City Central.
Okay.
Years ago,
Yep.
there was a player from Bay City. His name was Matt Costello. He went to Michigan State
Yep.
for basketball. So the gym is full. You cannot see the gym floor. There's
Yeah.
so many people. All you can see is the court.
wow.
The stands are full. There's 5,000 people in there. There's coaches from different arenas and things like that,
Yep.
different
Amazing.
colleges. But I'm sitting at the table, and when you're announcing the game, you hear people around you.
Yep.
But your focus is in front of you, right?
Sure.
So I very seldomly turn around. I'll get somebody on the back or what, and I can never turn around. It's not that I'm ignoring them, but I gotta pay
Well,
attention to
yeah,
what
yeah.
we're doing, right?
Of course.
does.
So
Yes.
I'm sitting at this game, and it's a regional district. I don't even know what it was, but
Sure.
everyone was there.
Yep.
And Matt Costello was playing a game of his life, and I thought, wow, Well, I kept hearing in the background, "Hey, coach! Hey, coach! Hey, coach!" And I just thought, somebody's a coach
Sure.
near me,
Coach,
whatever.
yeah, talking to him. Yeah.
This gentleman said to me just maybe a half hour before that, he says, "Is this seat taken?" And I said, "No, go ahead and have a seat." It was actually at the scores table where we have all these people that are sitting working.
Sure.
There happened to be an open chair, a couple down, whatever. I said, "No." And I never took my eyes off the court. I said,
Right.
"No, go ahead, feel free. And I kept doing my thing. I'm trying to run a computer and not miss a shot or a rebound.
Sure.
And so I'm focused. And when the game was over, I kept hearing this coach. I look and it's Tom Izzo
Oh my
sitting
goodness.
right next to me, and I never even
The
knew
whole
it the whole
time.
game.
Wow.
Wow.
Never knew it. So I looked at him and I said, "Hey, coach."
Hey, coach.
And he looked
Oh.
at me and he goes, "Wow, you do a fantastic." I mean, I'm not. Wow. And I said,
Yeah.
"I never even looked next to me." And he chuckled and everything. But great guy.
Yeah.
Oh.
Shook his hand and met him. But here I
That's
am
kinda
sitting
great.
next to him the whole game, and I have no idea that.
Who is like,
Who's
I
right
mean,
there?
he's on the Mount Rushmore of college
He
basketball
really is.
coaches. So I mean, that's amazing.
That
He was
is.
there to watch Costello,
Oh,
who
sure.
ended up going to MSU. But
Right.
it was funny.
Yeah.
Doing
But
a
there's
little
multiple
recruiting.
stories.
Did a little bit
I
of
could-
recruiting there,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely. I
Another-
even during the football games,
Mm-hmm.
one of the things I have these people will come up to me and say, "Move those chains."
Oh yes.
Right.
And I go, "Yeah, that's me." And they say, "Oh, our kids love that.
Yeah.
We
Oh, yeah.
love that."
Yep. My boys will say it at home.
They do too. Yes.
My boys will be watching NFL game. They'll be like, "Move those chains," and I'm
Yes.
like, "Let's go,
Let's do
baby!"
this.
I love it. I
Right?
love it.
Yeah.
So-
So that's the thing, but we'll see how long that goes. I have no plans to quit anytime soon.
Please don't.
No,
yeah,
don't.
We love it.
You have a passion
I want
for
you
it.
to
and I
announce
think-
for our boys
Oh
as
my
they
gosh!
get older.
Just keep waiting for a few more years. Right?
yeah.
So,
Yeah.
You know,
Well, good. Well, Joe, one thing that I think we want to kind of round it up with is through all your years of experience and everything you've been involved with, how do you integrate faith and community values into the programs and activities at the Wellness Center and at the high school games that you announce? How do you believe this integration is important to what you're doing?
so it's an easy answer. I could go on and on and on about it, but basically it's one word, it's people, right?
Right.
Okay.
So I believe that we're put on the face of the earth here to do as much as we can for other people.
Mm-hmm.
And also what's key to me is bringing people together.
Yep.
One of the biggest rewarding parts of our lives, at least my life, is I feel that when I have an individual standing in front of me and we're discussing things, and someone else might come up and start talking or intervene in the conversation, I will say, "Jim, have you met Bob? Bob, Jim, Bob."
Right.
And then they start talking and they make those connections. And
Yeah.
to me, I mentioned earlier, basketball is just a tool, but when we bring all those families together like
Mhm.
that, where people have an opportunity to see one another,
Right.
a lot of the people that we get, their kids are playing, maybe they went to school together and they
Yeah.
haven't seen each other in
Oh,
years.
yes.
Right.
So they get
Yeah.
together, they share stories. So I feel that the integration is just bringing people together and making those connections for
Make-
people. And,
And having something in common as well. Just watching your
People-
kids
yeah,
Yeah.
have fun, learn a game.
correct.
I mean, learn to be competitive as well. But I think it's also just, about bringing, like you said, bring people together. That's an amazing.
So our youth group
Everything,
is
yeah.
part of our program as well.
Okay.
Tom O'Brien's our youth minister at St.
Okay.
John's. He has kids, and then we have a couple ladies who are just absolutely fantastic. I talked
Mhm.
about volunteers,
Yeah.
but they run, Janice and Kelly, they run our concession stand at
Right.
St. John's.
Okay.
Now,
Right.
concessions is important, right? That's a big part of our
Of
day.
course.
Oh,
The
yeah.
kids have to have their concessions.
The
So
popcorn, and the candy.
Gatorade,
When they turn the-
Gatorades, waters.
the
Yeah.
popcorn on at 8:00 in the morning.
Yeah.
I'm like, really? But they sell it.
Hey.
And all of that profit goes to our youth group at St.
Yep.
Oh,
John's
wow.
for
Okay.
various
That's great.
trips and activities and seminars and things. So it all comes together.
Yeah.
And to me, that's our mission, right? To
It is.
get people together. And
Yeah.
what a great avenue to do that.
It is.
Yeah. Well, and I think one of the most welcoming factors for me, because I didn't grow up in Davison. I grew up in Lapeer, not very far away, but, different town, different county, different area
Sure.
in and of itself.
Sure.
You and your team over there, you guys lead by example. Everybody's got a smile on their face. Everybody is extremely welcoming, always quick to answer questions, lend a hand if necessary, all of those things. And I think that's such an important factor of what you guys do over there. And it should be applauded.
It is. Yeah.
Absolutely.
And for
it
such a
should.
long history
Yeah.
of doing that too.
Yeah.
I think that's something that's amazing within itself.
Yeah. Yeah, we always are a little hesitant to get it going because we know the work that's involved in it.
Right.
Right, I get it.
But then once it's going and we just give it a shove and
And it's
it
good to go.
goes and we love it.
Yeah.
And then
Take
but-
a deep breath, like, oh, here
Yeah.
comes another season.
Here
here we
Let's
go.
Exactly.
Here we go.
Yep.
And we have, like I said, the supporting staff and volunteers. And then when it's over with, we celebrate, right?
Yeah.
I mean, no doubt. We all get together and we, raise a glass and say, we did another one. You
Yep.
know?
Another
So
one, right?
you gotta
Another one, another
celebrate.
successful one in the
Yes.
books.
Yeah.
That's
But
perfect.
I will say, on the perspective of being a parent through the programs, it always seems to run so smooth. And I know there's a lot
It
of
does.
behind the scenes things going on, but just to let you know, as a parent and with kids involved in it over the years,
Well, not even as a parent, as a board member, and
board-
as being
yeah.
an active member with the Davison Area Chamber
Yes.
of Commerce, knowing all the events that you and I do and that
Yes.
we've done in the past and will be doing in the future. Your work, maybe for the vast majority, goes unnoticed, but for those of us that have ran events like this and have these different
Sure,
types of
sure.
things going on, there's no doubt that you guys have a well-oiled machine there, and it's fantastic to see.
Well,
Oh, it
thank
is.
you. Thank you. Yeah, I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Great.
So, as we near the end of today's
Yes.
podcast, why don't you give us a little bit of a look into what you've offered the listeners
Oh,
for this week, and
okay.
what we'll be able to give them an opportunity to win.
yes.
So what'd you bring with you today,
Oh,
Joe?
just some goodies. We have day passes if anyone wants to
that's
come in
great.
Oh, nice.
to the wellness center. You
Yep.
Great.
come see us. We have some goodies in there. I'm a big advocate. I always wear my cross on my wrist,
Oh, yep.
so it reminds me every day what my true job is.
Yep.
So we have some of those there as well,
Great.
coffee mugs. But I also this here, I think this is a special one, and this one goes. I'll let you guys fight over it, but I'll get another one if you need me to grab another one. I'll grab another one. But this is one of our special.
Oh,
You guys can
yes.
hang it on the wall, or
Oh,
one
I
of our
like
St.
that.
John's Youth
Oh.
basketball jerseys.
We'll put it up here in the
We should
studio.
put it up
Yeah.
in the studio.
That's exactly what
Oh
we'll
my
do.
goodness, I love this.
Yes.
And it was the biggest one I could find, so I don't know who it'll fit.
That's perfect.
Perfect. All right.
That's fantastic. Yeah, we'll get it framed
we
and
need
we'll
to
put
get
it
a
up
frame
there.
and put it up here.
Yep.
Oh, that's something else we could do.
We'll
for
have,
guests.
we'll have Joe sign it.
Oh,
Everybody sign it as
Oh,
they come
we
in.
should. I love
That's a
this
great
idea.
Yeah, that's
Yes.
perfect.
Start decorating the Remax studio.
That's right. That's right. Absolutely. Well, Joe, we don't want to keep you. We know
No.
you've got a busy day ahead of you, but
Yes.
man, thank you so much for coming in and taking the time today.
absolutely.
It's amazing to get a purview into what it is that you guys do, not only yourself personally, but what you do at St. John's.
Right.
We truly appreciate it. It is a linchpin. It's a keystone to the community, to be able to get these people together and do these different events and have the space available. Our Quartermania is going to be over at the Parish Hall.
Oh,
It is.
fantastic.
So
We're
we're going
really
Oh,
to,
excited
yeah,
about
that's
that.
right. Yeah, at the Parish Hall.
yep,
Yes.
they're on March 8th. So we're going to have a
Mhm.
great time with that as well. And we do truly appreciate the time today.
Absolutely. Well, it's been an honor, guys. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it as well.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, this is the Community Collective Podcast. I am Johnny B. Good.
Travis Howell.
We will see you next time on the Community Collective. Bye-bye.
See ya.
Bye.